people value farming and all that.
I think people eat more meat than vegetables in this country.
Yes. So we have, I would say we have the best lands that can grow anything you can think of. We grow cocoa, we grow timbers and all that. But we don't take farming serious in our country. So projecting these things will help you to think twice if you feel farming.
Empowering the people,
Yes. Yes,
it's good.
Because if this is grass is what they can grow here, and they are growing it for animals to eat. Why won't you grow something that mankind can feed on?
Yeah, exactly.
And you feel growing these things makes you a poor person, or it's not anything important. So that's what we project. This is rocks. We look at 150 what people visit in a year. They are making money.
1 million.
1.5 million people visiting this place in a year. It's quite huge.
It's
Why are
very
people
big.
visiting? Because they've managed it well.
Well, I think if I was being cynical, I think because they spent a lot of money on advertising it.
Yes.
But it is a centre of energy, magnetic energy, and a place of gathering.
Yes.
So people that come here, obviously, sometimes don't even know why they come here. So it's fascinating, that and they advertise it more because people are wanting to come here, and it's one of the 7 wonders of the world as well. But so kind of a bucket list place, to come from. So the term henge, as it's called, Stonehenge, it actually comes from this site, but it's not actually what people think it is. It's the henge comes from the Anglo-Saxon term for hanging stone. So they used to actually string people up and hang people on these stones. So henge means hanging stones.
Wow.
And actually the classification of a henge is also incorrect here, because your henge, you have a large on the outside, and then you have a ditch on the inside, and then you have a circle of stones. But here you have the very subtle mound on the outside, a very subtle ditch on the inside, and then a larger mound on the inside again, which is unusual. But Ghent University a few years ago have explored this ground with more sensitive equipment, and they actually found stones buried underneath there. So this would date this site pre-Ice Age, so at least 12,000 years old.
Wow.
And back in those days, they probably had a smaller stone circle marking out this place as a meridian site, as a kind of a gathering site. And then it's been buried by the movement of the ice and the water and the soil coming through here. And then after that, probably about 6,000 years ago, they put a circle of blue lyre stones, which they brought from the Priscilli Mountains, inside. This is one of the original stones there. There were actually 4 stones originally positioned. That's one of the original blue stones over there as well. So these stones were placed there probably to mark out the ancient site here, because if you wouldn't know there was something here if you were driving past on your horse and cart, or maybe just your horse, because it's just very, very flat. So they put these blue lyre stones to mark out the site again, and then about 1,000 years later they brought these stones, the Sarsen stones, which we believe actually came from the sanctuary in Avebury. At the end of the avenue in Avebury, there's a site called the Sanctuary, which is not known what was there, but people believe that these stones were actually positioned there because the same stones in Avebury are Sarsens as well. So those stones were brought from that to this site, probably because this site at that time was more important and more popular.
Wow. Wow, you said just one thing that I would want to understand. So looking at a little history you've given me, can we say people have died here since they were hanging people on
More likely in the Anglo-Saxon time, people were killed here and some possibly buried here. They have found one grave of from the actual Anglo-Saxon time that was here, but this is not. I don't believe this is a grave site. You know, this is not a burial site. This is built as a planetary observatory, basically, to observe the movement of the stars and the planets, and that's why they chose this landscape, because it's very, very flat, and you've got a huge amount of the sky to look at, so you can easily see the movement of the stars and the planets.
Okay, beautiful. My last question, then we move. So, if someone is watching us, he will ask, give me one reason why I should visit Stonehenge.
I think it's because the energies really, you come here and you kind of connect to the sacred landscape, and it's not only about Stonehenge, it's about Glastonbury, which is connected to Stonehenge, and Avebury, which is connected to Stonehenge, so it's visiting the whole area, but this is very much a central point of the ancient British Isles, so kind of like coming here centres you back into your body, into your consciousness, and you know, so you can regain, like you're spinning around in a washing machine, and you get into the center and they finally find peace, you know, and then you can go back out into the busyness of the washing machine.
Consciousness, it's all about energy, it's all about spirituality, it's all about mankind.
Yeah.
Wow. This is beautiful. This is just beautiful. Has any disaster happened here? Any disaster happened here before?
Not really any disaster right now.
Because a lot of people are visiting this place all over, from all over the world. They are visiting here, and you wouldn't know what kind of agenda or mindset somebody would come here with. That's why I'm asking if, like any disaster, someone has beaten or shot someone here.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. I mean, there is history of like human sacrifice. Not extensively, but you know, definitely stories of human sacrifice here, and battles as well here. Yeah, I'm sure there's been many crazy moments in Stonehenge.
Yes, but for now it's all about positive energies. For now, you
yeah.
visit here for positivity.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. This is just beautiful. It's just beautiful.
Well, in Woodhenge there is actually the grave of a young girl who was sacrificed 6,000 years ago, the time when it was built, and some people believe that it was built in her honour. But they haven't found, I mean, there's a burial mound over there, that's the closest burial mound. All the other burial mounds are in a massive circle, but quite far away. Up on top of the hills there, you see the line of burial mounds on top of that hill, burial mounds on top of the hill over there, burial mounds up here on the ridgeway. So we're surrounded by burial mounds, but not here. So it's kind of like people wanted to be buried nearby, but not right in the centre. So it was kind of like the greater landscape. There's over 300 burial mounds between here and Avebury.
Wow. Okay.
But interestingly, there are no burial mounds in that direction, because that is where the sun rises, and that's about birth. It's not about death.
So it's everything about spirituality.
Oh yeah,
That's what we are talking
Isn't
about
everything?
Wow.
In my life, everything is spiritual.
In your life?
Yeah.
Wow.
And most people I know in Glastonbury, everybody's is about spiritual, you know.
Okay, so from here to Woodhenge, right? Are we done with?
No, it's up to you. I mean, we can walk around and look at it a bit more
then.
if you want. Or yeah, it's up to you. Sure. Are you sick of Stonehenge already?
No, I'm not. It's because I don't know my bearings.
Yeah.
I'm just following you.
Yeah,
so you
no
move,
problem.
I follow. Wow.
Normally I like to do a circle. It's nice to circle it. Well, this is a good spot to see the structure, how they built it. So this is the tallest stone here, which got a kind of a notch on the top there. So all of the stones have notches on top. So the stones will slot on top of each other. So really strong. And the stone next to it was the other half of the they're called trilithics, which means three lithic, which is stones, 3 stones, trilithic. And the bottom of it, you've got like a bulb-like effect that held the weight kind of underground. So it's all been built really, really solidly. And even the stones that were around the circle on the outside, they were both connected. It's like Lego, isn't it? With kind of like, you know, notches and bowls. And then at the side, you've got a kind of wedge carved in, and that's slotted into the next stone. So really, really solid. I actually believe, as others do, and it's a growing theory, that actually this was not built as it was not built as a stone circle. It wasn't built to just be standing stones. That actually it was built as a chamber mound, and that this was the foundation of holding a roof and dirt on top. So the space on the outside would have been filled with dirt and clay and stones, and it was holding a inner chamber in the middle there. So this kind of the outer circle was basically like a foundation, you know, like the older the building is, the thicker the walls, because they don't have foundations. I mean, this has a little bit of foundation. So this kind of outer side was like the foundation for a large inner chamber. And then they would only enter and exit in alignment with the heel stone over there, which is marking out the sunrise of the summer solstice. And the sun would go through a light box up into the back of the chamber, and then there was a smaller kind of tunnel where people would walk through. So there was a kind of a upper chamber where the sun would come through.
And higher
exactly. So you wouldn't. So it was reserved for the sun. People would not go through the upper chamber, but they would come in through the tunnel, and they would go down and through, and so it was all dark. So when you're in there, you couldn't even see the sunlight until the sun would come through the chamber, you know.
It's a whole symbol and a kind of language. Wow.
Yeah, it's like rebirth and death and rebirth, very much.
If you are able to combine the language and the symbols together, it's just talking about humanity and divinity, or this world and everything that dwells in it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And what's interesting, because we do have long burrows for the same purpose, where people would enter, and then the sun would rise and illuminate the chamber. But they were actually aligned to the winter solstice sunrise, and this is aligned to the summer solstice sunrise. So we're not sure. The winter solstice sites are older than this. There is actually a winter solstice long burrow part of this complex at the other end, near the car park actually, that connects to the cursus, which is the long kind of road-looking earthwork in the landscape, and then the sunrise of the summer solstice connects to the other end of the cursus. So I think the cursus actually is a calendar from the winter to the summer, but that's just one of my theories. But it makes perfect sense to me. You know?
Perfect sense. Yeah. This is just beautiful.
It's nice we've got the birds here that made it their home as well. Busy making their nests for their young.
They have their peace there. Yeah. Nobody is coming to change them out.
Yeah.
So
before they open and after they close, you can have access. If you have to pay and organise private access into the circle, but it's nice to do.
So abusia, was Stonehenge, UK's. We drive like 2 hours from London to Ahasin. Na usha sama papa yi Kenya. Na usha said ya wo ka honhom sama na bi yet say you wu asem. Ohun said ya brofu yi age honhom sem di. Mo be ye wo groto ya ye kotwa aye ye gya no wo nwuram. Ensom bokra mayen. Enso hwe ade papa yi ken oka awia oka bosome no na oka ayi said ye hia ma reading ye wo bi wo ye kromo ankrofo yi full plane be nante wo so ye de bibia nsom ye bo bibia ya bronsam because of Yesu ne Muhammad nti. Asɛm a ɔka yi nyinaa mo a me brafo na amu sɛ mu nim sɛ Yesu. Ti kakra metumi akan. Ɛna mekan. Stonehenge abrɔfo yi na agye ha boso wi ase afa na nyinara. Well, me hu bibi ni ba ko mpo wa ha. Nti Ghana fo a mo wɔ London. Misrɛ mo a mo kɔ holidays a mo mfa mo ma ne mra ha. Na omo nso betwa ho hia. Because it is believed just a wiane mpo ene wo nante no ma mark bibia nti wo penante wa hapo e ma ne nye kwa. Nti entena simpoto ni amanom enye se bibie ni ho. Because bibi wo ho pa. When they talk spirituality is there. Though enye concert na mo hwe social media afa ha we se fin fa ha se fi se fin. Enye no. Na emom no bibi wo ho. Wo to bo ase na wo hwehwe a ubehu. Na watimi nso so atiase.
This is one of my favorite aspects here, because you can see the heel stone. This is in the alignment of the summer solstice sunrise and the winter solstice sunset here.
Wow.
And so this is, you can see the shape very clearly here as well.
Exactly.
So you see the circle, the circle on the outside, and then inside is like a horseshoe shape facing the sun.
Yes.
It's like gathering the energies. That's why they have the megalithic cove, it's called. And also to have a circle is unusual, because mostly stone circles, even though they're called circles, they're actually elliptical, which is an egg shape. And usually the point of the egg is pointing towards the sunrise. And that's because the planets move in this elliptical shape around the sun. So the circle actually also says to me that this was a chamber mound, not a circle.
Yes.
The terminology is very, very confusing.
Very not confusing. Just it's not ordinary for ordinary person to understand.
Yeah, you have to get your head around it.
You have to get your head around it.
It's
you
like
have
dinosaurs
to connect.
being designed on chickens.
Yes.
You know, it's kind of like we're shown a certain kind of idea, and we just swallow it and we believe that that's how it is, you know.
I'm very hungry. Wow.
Oh, you found a nice worm there. That was good. That was a good bit of dinner. Good find.
Sorry, okay? Sorry, why?
In this field over here, there used to be every crop circle season, a new crop circle appear there. I made a nice photograph with the Stonehenge. The first time I ever went inside the circle in my early 20s was the day, and that was in the 90s, that a very famous crop circle appeared here of the DNA spiral, the kind of triple DNA spiral.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a full-on, that was massive. In those days, the crop circles took over the whole field, you know. Natural.
Very natural, very, very natural.
And they're trying to make it more and more natural, you know. This, you can see the face of the heel stone here, the eyes and the mouth, and kind of, I think it was chosen to represent a serpent's head.
The circle looks more visible here. At the back
yeah,
here.
even further round, you get more of the outer circle here. It's had a lot of damage over the years. In the 1600s, it's said that they used Stonehenge as target practice for cannon firing, you know.
Nti abusia Stonehenge mo bayi na wuhwe. Mo me afanto to de ekotwa ogroto ne tachi man ho. Ne yenhwe se yedi ye ho awu ana yedi ye ho abro. Ye betumi blame obi se obi na ye problem ana. Abusia me se mo me afanto to ho. Mo nso amano mo si social media. Android phone 200 cedis nti. Na awamo ye technology na unim yansa nche obi a. Ti wo de obebra wo ho ase no wasua de a. Ebeboa we sansa wo out wo po unim ho. Nkrofo yo mo wo bebi a mo krom ha. Abrabo ni nyina ye flexible. Na nso so hwe. omo bu bibia honhom tete niama e wo ho nyina hwe nipa no mpe nyina me na wakohwe esomo mo bo de wo bibia ye bronsam sabio na unya meso na nkasa po edi firi hi ne baaye nyansa ne ade nyina fiti ase ampa. In fact, this stone looks more than even a human being.
Yeah, you can really see the face. The avenue would have come down, and this would have been the end stone of the avenue leading from the cursus, and then so people would have paraded down the avenue into the
chambers.
The chamber, and then the sun would rise, and it was like awakening the serpents from the earth.
Awakening the serpent from the earth.
Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah. And then the serpents would enter the chamber and kind of move around the people, and then kind of go out to the world. You know, kind of. That's why this is a central place. So it was sending out that serpent energy. So reawakening it every year, connecting it to the land and the sky and the rest of the world. You know.
So someone is watching us asking that, what's the meaning of a serpent?
The serpent represents earth energies, ley lines, and a ley line is a line that goes all the way around the planet, and when they're underground, they're known as serpent lines, and they actually look energetically they look like serpents because they're made up of many little kind of toroidic donut shapes that kind of form like a tube out of the toroidic shapes. And then when you awaken them by standing on sites like this where energies cross, you awaken them and they become the kundalini serpents in the body, and they raise up to the pineal gland, and then the serpents bite the pineal gland, bringing the kind of poison or the electricity, which can be poisonous as well. But poison can either kill you or it can heal you.
Yeah.
So that poison then, or an electricity, awakens the pineal gland, which is the physical third eye, which activates your consciousness, and then the serpents grow wings and become the dragons, and then they go off into each of the directions, the north, south, east and west directions, and then they become the elements. So north is earth, east is air, south is fire, west is water. So the underground serpent energies are awakened by mankind.
This serpent thing you are talking about has anything to do with the reptilian cortex that people feel is the beast energy and all that? What does it have to do with it?
If you fear your reptilian brain, you're gonna make it a negative. But if you love your reptilian brain, because everybody has a reptilian brain, you're going to make it a positive. So it's, you know, it's whatever you choose. That's the free will, you know.
That's the free will. When it comes with the fear, that is when you vibrate on a lower vibration. That is what we call the beast energy.
Yeah. It's actually 666.
Yes.
And the number, actually 666 is not only the number of the beast, it's actually the number of man. I think it's actually the number of free will. So you can either choose to be the beast or choose to be the man. Man is the conscious, loving being. The beast is the negative, fearful being.
That's it. Finished. Done.
Boom. Because 6 is actually the 6-pointed star, which is the higher consciousness and the lower consciousness.
It's not any mark that is coming to be on people's forehead and all that.
You can mark yourself if you want, but I'm not going to.
You see, this thing is having a whole lot of shades. Here it looks like a chimpanzee. This very stone.
Yeah, okay. I can see that. Yeah,
you can see that.
The Avebury has much more characterful stones, and I see lots of animals and people in them. So we'll talk about a lot of that later.
Sure.
And this is my faithful hound, Nettle. And I am a tour guide here in England. And I do tours such as this, spiritual tours, sacred site tours. And my company is called Tour of the Tour. You can find me on the internet. Just put tours, which is T-O-R-S, T-O-U-R-S. And yeah, welcome to come and do a tour with us. So this is Woodhenge.
Okay.
And these concrete markers have been put here in the 1930s when it was rediscovered by the army surveying the land here. They saw that the grass was growing in a strange formation, and then they dug underneath and they found remnants of wooden posts that were here. So there are 6 circles, and what I've discovered actually dowsing this site with energy dowsing rods, that this is actually a labyrinth shape. So people would walk in from the avenue up to the Woodhenge, and then it would take you clockwise around the circle, and then you would go in and you would walk the next circle anti-clockwise to the entrance, in again clockwise, in anti-clockwise. So you do like a labyrinth shape walk, like a meditational walk.
Like yes, like I was about asking, does it feel like walking here is like taking away negative energies?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So there was a line of 7 wood henges across the country, connected to this bank up here, which is called Durrington Walls.
Okay.
And Ghent University, again a few years ago, have discovered that there are large 12-foot tall stones that used to be on the top of that bank, but they're buried just a couple of feet underground. And then there would have been a wood henge inside that mound, that henge, and then another one between here and there, and then more that direction there. And this really is a henge, because you can see the remains of a mound on the outside, and then the ditch on the inside, and then the wooden structure. And this is actually not a circle. This is elliptical, so
yes.
Properly Woodhenge style. And the elliptic is pointing to the summer solstice sunrise.
Is this the original state they found it, or they've worked on it?
It's the original position,
yes.
But they put concrete markers.
Yes,
where
so they've worked on it.
Wooden posts would. So the wooden posts would probably been about 12 foot tall, you know.
Okay, so people come to visit this place for what?
Just out of interest, really, you know, and some people feel the energy, you know, and I personally feel that this is more of a feminine site energetically than Stonehenge, which is more of a masculine energy, you know.
Wow. The vibrations here is also different, but very good and calm, honestly.
Yeah. Peaceful.
Vibrations here is calm and peaceful. Wow. You could see toffees and flowers and all that on the grave. Wow. Wow.
And that's 6,000 years ago.
6,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is local stone. This is flint.
You could see.
Yeah.
It looks like a skull or something, a bone or something.
Yeah, it's got this. Yeah, it's very appropriate stone for graves, isn't it? It's got that kind of interesting.
6,000 years. And this place is still like this. They are maintaining it very, very well. Wow.
It's seen many different incarnations, but the energies hasn't really changed much.
Exactly. Exactly. So you people believe in reincarnations as well?
Of course.
Wow.
Of course.
Wow. Great.
I can't imagine not believing in reincarnation. It would limit my perception of the universe.
Wow.
I don't want to limit myself.
We have a whole lot to learn. Wow. So they do. Have they maybe investigate about this young girl? Does he have any books? Does he have any history?
No.
Or it's just the grave?
There isn't any. I mean, 6,000 years ago, there was
no
written history. But looking at culture, that's why they believe that maybe she was an important royal, like a princess, and that she was maybe even born to be sacrificed. But we don't know. We don't know the culture. I mean, some people really don't like to visit these sites, Stonehenge and Avebury and Woodhenge, because they feel they have memory of mass sacrifices, and there probably were periods where there were more sacrificed than others, but probably it would have, maybe it was a desperation that they were like, year after year of drought or of problems that that they had to do something to please, or they believed they had to do something to please the gods,
That was what was happening at that time. Sacrificing your child or your family wasn't an issue. Like that was the thing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't.
Like in the Bible, Father Abraham was meant to sacrifice his son, wasn't he?
Do you believe in the Bible?
Yeah, why not? It's a good book, isn't it?
It's a good book. Do you think it's the word of God?
I think everything is the word of God.
I'm talking about the Bible.
God is God. The word God just means good. So if you speak a positive, happy way of being, you're speaking the word of good, which is the word of God. I don't believe in a man sitting on a cloud with a big white beard controlling everything. Definitely not. It's not. And he doesn't speak. I see God as our consciousness, and if you're speaking the word of love and light and peace and goodness, you're speaking the word of God. And if you're speaking negative and horrible and bad, you're speaking the word of the devil or whatever, the word of darkness.
The word of darkness. Yeah. I was going to ask you about your perception about heaven, but I realized you said you believe in reincarnation. So it wouldn't make sense if I asked you about heaven.
Heaven? Heaven means
the planes.
The sky. It means like a higher dimension where people go when they die, So I mean, it's I do believe in a place where people go when they die, but then they sort themselves out in that place and then they come back. It's not. It's I mean, everything has a purpose.
Yeah.
I believe.
But you don't believe you are going to die and go to heaven and walk on gold and all that.
What a waste of time. I don't want to walk on gold. Gold's no use in heaven. I mean, it's probably more valuable here than up in heaven, isn't it?
Exactly.
I'll send the gold back down to me in this life,
Okay, so people are watching.